ダメダメダメよダメなのよあんたが好きで好きすぎてどれだけ強いお酒でも歪まない思い出がバカみたい
Today, I'm going to be talking about Bug Fables. Bug Fables is a game by Moonsprout Games, and I'm sure that you can tell by looking at it. You know, I know, the devs know, they aren't trying to hide anything. It's Paper Mario, but they forgot to remove the bugs. Alright, let's get started. The best way I can describe the appearance of this game is one of those HD texture packs for Paper Mario 64. The game looks good most of the time, but I think the character sprites really could have benefited from a bit more detail and better animation. I think shadows and more lighting effects on the character sprites would have been a good addition as well. Just don't go into this expecting Origami King levels of graphical fidelity. With that said, that's the biggest negative I can think about this game. Excuse my bluntness, but this game is the Paper Mario game fans have been waiting 16 years for.
Without further interruption, let's celebrate and suck some dick.
It's as good, if not better, than the Thousand Year Door. And no, hold on, I can hear what you're saying. Castle, how in the rock hawk could this game be better than the Thousand Year Door? The answer is that Bug Fables isn't only a game trying to be Paper Mario, but it's also an evolution for the formula that 64 and Thousand Year Door did so well that hasn't been iterated on since 2004. But first, let's meet the trio that the game follows. The game starts with a quick little summary of the world of Bugaria. After Bug seemingly out of nowhere gained intelligence and hands, the ants, led by their queen, founded the kingdom and welcomed all kinds of bugs as the queen created explorer groups to search for the key to immortality, the everlasting sapling.
He said it! He said it!
The queen later died and her daughter took over in search, still looking for the sapling. Ants are the primary rulers of the land, and as such, there's a lot of tunnels that the player can use to quickly get around the world.
Yeah, I'm an ant. I'm small. But when me and the homies get together, we get a lot of work done, you know what I'm saying?
After that quick introduction, we finally meet our first character, Kabu, an honorable beetle, a rainbow scarab beetle for those bug buffs out there, who goes out of his way to do the right thing. He's attempting to join as an explorer as our second character, a sassy little bee named V, walks in. She's told that she's way too small to join and, well, that sets her off. As a test, Mackie, the leader of the Explorers Association, fights them in a small little duel. As found out later, Mackie held back a lot, but allowed them to join as explorers and head to the dreaded Snake Mouth Cave. Replaying the game, I love how awkward Kabu and V are in the beginning of each other. These are two strangers that are together for the sole purpose of an adventure. It's a cute little moment and I love it. On the other side of the room we have Zasp, who I can only describe as a simp. Going up the stairs, you meet a bug who is the vein of my existence. He gives you a badge, and yes, there's badges in this game, that makes the game f***ing hard. It's optional of course, but it's also important to keep equipped. With the hard mode badge on, more XP is gained during battles, being bosses unlocks badges and it causes controls to be flung into monitors 95% more often. Some bosses are absolutely evil that I could not do with the badge on. Without the badge, this game is easier than the Thousand Year Door, and I think the normal mode should have been a bit harder. Maybe it's super easy because I'm a Paper Mario veteran, but playing without hard mode on is a cakewalk. After reaching Snake Mouth, the duo falls deeper into the cave and they find a moth and a spider web. Before they can do anything, a spider ambushes them. V temporarily abandons Kabu, and the two rescue the third member of her cast. Leaf has been in this cave for a long time. In fact, the queen was still alive when he originally entered the cave. As reference, the queen was already dead when V was born, and these special bugs live as long as people do. Leaf is the most unique out of the group. There's a lot of mystery to him about his past, and he knows ice magic. So that's cool, I guess. These are our main characters, and man, this game somehow made bugs cute instead of the monstrous creatures they are. Just thank God there's only one spider in this game. Do I really look like the type of person that can handle more than one spider encounter? I'm gonna strict one spider limit here. Instead of swapping between partners, Bug Fables has all three of the characters available all the time. While yes, partners are cool in Paper Mario, a partner's entire character arc only took place in the chapter they were found in. Sure, their charm sticks around afterwards with their dialogue when they're around, but Goombella is only useful for tattle, which later becomes useless once the HP badge is found. Other than that, she's only really good for bonking, and where's the fun in that? With the system that Bug Fables has, this allows our characters to have character arcs throughout the entire game. Kabu is the closest to a main character, I guess, since he's the first one we meet, but all three characters are equally important, with all three becoming closer and closer as the game goes on, and having their own little side quests. Like I said, Kabu and V are kinda awkward when first meeting, but their bond is so strong by the end that they know each other's likes and dislikes. Now, what kind of Paper Mario game would this be without combat? A Paper Mario-like game without combat? Bug Fables improves on Paper Mario's combat in every way. Without partners, the game is able to design the enemy roster knowing that Kabu, V, and Leaf are always available, and when they're not, their absence can be really felt. Small changes are made that make things way more enjoyable. At the start of the player's turn, the trio's positions can be changed for free, and their attack order can be changed too, even allowing multiple turns to be taken from the same character in exchange for someone else's, while also dealing one less damage each time. The positioning of each character matters. The front character deals more damage but is targeted more, and badges can make these positions even more strategic. Each character has their own unique advantage and disadvantage. Kabu is the tank of the group, being able to take on all kinds of damage and deal a lot as well. Leaf can be an absolute powerhouse with the right moves. He deals bonus damage to plants and can freeze enemies for a round, which combined with Kabu can lead to a large amount of damage. V is the range one with her Beamerang, being the only one able to hit flying enemies with no badges. Even blocking has seen an update. Parrying is gone and the player can only block. This sounds like the system has just been simplified, but it's actually more advanced. There's two kinds of blocks, a normal block and a super block. Normal blocks reduce damage by 1, but a super block reduces damage by 2. Holy shit, I know. What makes a super block more interesting is that badges can make it even more effective by reducing damage and dealing damage to attacking enemies. Fights can either make it or break it, depending on how many super blocks one can get. All three characters can use Tattle, which is really nice. They even have their own unique dialogue for each enemy. Tattle also has a point other than the CHP. There's a whole card game that can be played from any enemy tattled on. Even something as small as Tattle has been heavily improved upon. How dare they? This is why Bug Fables is an evolution for the Paper Mario series. It does what Intelligent Systems should have done years ago with the systems it put in place. Speaking of the old boy, one thing I think Intelligent Systems has really lacked in recent years with the Paper Mario world is that it just doesn't feel as alive or lived in as it used to. However, the world of Bugaria feels like a thriving place. Bug Fables makes every town feel unique, with their own residents and individual backstories. Our trio can walk up to almost every NPC and say something about them. It's nice and not a toad in sight. There's so much backstory left for the player to figure out that it just makes me so happy. There's this ant's hotel in the desert that has a picture of him and another ant, presumed to be his wife. His dialogue has him sad though, and he stumbles with his words when referencing his wife. Is she dead? Did they get a divorce? Who knows, because the game lets you come up with your own conclusion. After playing for a bit, it becomes clear that all this is taking place in someone's backyard. There's cardboard houses here and there in the beginning, but it gets even better. The desert is vast, with bandits and human items scattered throughout the desert. Once the beehive is reached, the trio can look through a telescope, and all of this that they just went through took place in a sandbox. Like, come on, how can you not love that? Pretty much any weird occurrence that happens can be explained with some human element. There's even these ants that are infected with a real-world parasite called the... I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that. Fun fact, this parasite inspired the infected from The Last of Us, but with recent events, I think I'm gonna not talk about that. The side quests in this game are something else. It felt like every time I returned to the side quest board, there was like 20 new things for me to do. I could go literally hours ignoring the main quest. These side quests, for the most part, are just plain fun to play through. You got a vampire bug, scientists trying to solve mortality, a quest to find this dumbass's horn, and the most ridiculous fetch quest I ever put myself through, just so I can make V happy. This is a chunky game. Completing the game and doing almost every side quest had me at 35 hours, and easily could have been 45 hours in total runtime. It's a surprising length considering it's an indie game. The sound design of the game feels weak at first, but it quickly started to grow on me. The tunes are upbeat like in the main menu that let the player know that, hey, it's alright, there's some honey in the game. Then there's this dark and foreboding music that just comes out of nowhere. Easily my favorite part of the sound effects is how there are multiple sound effects that were obviously done with someone's mouth. The only thing about Bug Fables' story that I think could have been better is with its villain. The Wasp King should have been introduced earlier, as he just suddenly appears and becomes the big bad villain halfway through the game. The first half of the game feels like a bunch of random adventures that have an artifact to find. While if the player had known that the Wasps were also after the artifacts at the same time, it would have added a sense of urgency. The Wasps are the main enemy of the game, and it's just a shame that they showed up out of nowhere halfway through the game.
Oh, I'm a wasp and I like to hurt people.
And now, here we are at the end. And what can I say? Mission frickin' accomplished, Moonsprout Games. This game went over my expectations. Even after listening to reviews, I didn't think this could top the 1,000-year door. And in some areas it doesn't, but in others it does, to where I can safely say it's as good without a doubt. Its trio are likable and leave me wanting more from them. The combat makes Paper Mario's feel outdated because it's just simply superior in every way. It took the best elements from Paper Mario and even Mario and Luigi of things such as teamwork attacks. Bug Fables was spawned because of the disappointments that were SS and Color Splash. Paper Mario was going down a path that just wasn't where the fanbase wanted it to go, and Bug Fables is the response that Nintendo needs to see. This game is being praised and praised. The Paper Mario formula still works. I don't think I'll go back to waiting for a true sequel to 1,000-Year Door in the Paper Mario series. I'll instead be waiting for a sequel to Bug Fables.